Okay, I'm gonna cue you guys in. In three, two.
Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. I'm Collins, and this is Jack Lane, and we're happy to see you back to take a long break. And we have some great stuff to talk about today. Good morning, Jack Lane.
Good morning, good morning. I see you are still at the beach, and but I'm curious that you have your where's your bathing suit?
It's down. You can't see it.
Oh, okay. So you've already come out of the water and you're a little chilled with the breeze, so you put a little.
Yeah, it's a little chilly here. At chilly 70 degrees.
70. Wow. Okay. So yeah, we've been kind of away for a little while. So good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, 11 o'clock. This is the Awakening, excuse me, podcast series. And forgive us if we're a little rusty. So anyway, you want to start?
Yeah, that's exactly. We're getting back into the roll of things again, and but we have some really kind of an interesting topic to talk about today. And I'll kind of pass it back to you because I think you really were excited about this topic.
Yeah, so again, the Awakening podcast series is all about enabling, providing resources, providing techniques for those who are beginning to realize that there is another reality and that we are co-creators of our reality. In other words, we don't have to live from the external reality as being our only reality. That external reality, as we teach here on this podcast, is the secondary reality. It is not the primary. I see you smiling.
I'm looking at myself at the beach. It's great.
And there you go. That's your prime reality, correct?
Right.
And so the art of assumption is actually another way of saying the law of manifestation or the law of attraction, in realizing that as I am a creator, then I must follow the law of creation, the principles that allow me to be a creator. And just like anything, when you do a math equation, you don't just add it up the way that you want to add it up. You must follow the steps or the principles that allow you to have a successful answer. And it's the same way with manifestation or creation. There is a principle, there are laws, and when you begin to awaken and you realize that you are more than what? I am more than my name. I'm more than my title. I'm more than my financials, my bank statement. I'm more than my car, my clothes, my culture, my society, my education. You can amputate my arm. You can amputate my body. And yet I am still left. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're more than the physicality of yourself, yet the physicality is a manifestation of the energy you put into it.
That is exactly correct. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. My physicality is the shell, is the form that I put my spirit into. Right?
Right.
And so this is just a beautiful opening, and thank you for that. So we begin to realize that I was in a world of light prior to this physicality. And then I came down into this world choosing the limits of this body. And so that full spectrum, the wholeness of the light that I came from is now the spark within me. And so as an infant learns how to use his legs to walk, I've got to learn how to fan that spark within me to become the all-consuming fire, which consumes all the external reality and provides me with an open space to create that thing, that person, that place, or that thing that I desire to create. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so the art of assumption, this is the principle, the law that we begin with, is that we learn how to assume, which is, how do we assume? We imagine. So it's our imagination, it's in imaging, it's projecting out, because everything in my world I learn is a projection of my inner thinking,
Condition.
my inner imagination. I am all thought. I am all mind. And we are talking animals. We don't stop talking. I don't know about you, but I certainly know that stopping my mind is like stopping literally a runaway train. So even as a master, I still am mastering, because the physicality which you talked about, which sees the world through the cones and rods of the physical eye, and believes that what I see externally is my reality, that image, that kind of imaging is very magnetic. And so it pulls my belief system and holds me captive, holds me enslaved to thinking that is what is going on out there is actually my reality. And that's the lie that we're waking up from. That's what the awakening is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Is waking up and flipping. We're literally doing a flip. And the art of assumption is imagining something and assuming that it is real, because as creator, that's where the creative action takes place. Follow me?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to just add that, just a clarification about the external. It's like the external things that are going around you, you can choose to engage or disengage in those external things, but your external, the vehicle that you're using to experience your external world is a product of the work that you put into the vehicle. So it's not like you can just say, I'm just going to get rid of this vehicle. You know, it's about how you use it. It's like it's a tool. Like
this physicality, this vehicle is a tool which hammers, screws, nails, which creates the thing that I desire to create, and to bring that which is unseen in the spiritual world into that which is seen in the physical world. So the first cause is the imagination, or the spiritual realm. That's the first cause. And that realm, that reality, that kingdom is more real than the external forms that we see through our physicality. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's
And
right.
so-
Yeah. So you are what you are, or I am what I am first, instead of doing the things that I need to do in the physicality to get the things that I think I need to be the thing I need to be. You have to reverse it. That I'm
You
being-
reverse that, and if you can make that flip right here, right now, you can see there's no more battle. It doesn't matter what Caesar does. If Caesar places more tax, more tax, more tax, more tax, it doesn't matter, because I just make more. I make more. I make more, because my prime reality is from a kingdom of unlimited supply. When I was a man, a spirit in the world, an identity in, sorry, I said that wrong. When I was a spirit having my identity in the world of light, there's no obstacle. There is no resistance. There is nothing that is, all things were in me at all times. And I can still say that. Hold on, I'm trying to, okay. When I was in the world of light, all things were within me now. So when I placed my light beingness into this physicality, into this physical body, that entire being within me now was cast down into a spark. And now I have to learn how to go back to the world of light where all things are possible, where supply is unlimited. And there is a technique in that. There is a process. Just like when you are an infant, you've got to learn, practice, practice, practice how to use your legs so that you can walk from here to there. In other words, you've got a desire that you want to go over there, and you've got to train your legs how to get you over there. So the art of assumption is movement, is the art of movement, of the art of motion. How do I get from here, where my bank account says what I don't want it to say, to moving to there, where it is what I want it to be? That's the art of motion. And it's a psychological motion. Let me say that again. It's the art. It's the psychological motion. It's the art of moving your mind from the here position where I do not want to be to the there position where I want to be.
Right. And and exactly. And I think that what is usually standing in a lot of people's way is these patterns. We get in these patterns, and we get in these patterns because we feel like it's going to give us safety and comfort and reliability. And now I can speak from an example. Yesterday I went out shopping, and shopping just kind of, it's a rough experience, seeing all the people with the masks and all the kids with the masks and all that stuff. And I was just picking up some stuff, and I don't know, I just felt like I was, going into all the shops and everything, just felt like I was back in the same patterns again. And I felt all this energy kind of get blocked up in me. And I got to tell you, I thought about it after I went and did it. And I was like, probably half the stuff I bought, I really didn't need it, but I just got it because it felt like I needed it. And I think we're going to be at a stage where we're going to have to think about, be a little more careful about, all the things that we think we need, just take a second look at that thing. What is it? Is it something you really need?
So I think we've got to take a break.
Okay.
Let's
Do that.
hang on to that,
Okay.
that thought about the need, and moving from the need into a place of, I already have that which I want. So, okay.
Okay,
Be back in a minute.
it's the Awakening Podcast. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, we're gonna come back in. Suspension. I'm gonna fade out. Well, I'm gonna show you the fade out, then come back in.
Welcome back to the Awakening Podcast. Happy to have you today. It's Collins and Jacqueline, and we're back talking about a really exciting subject, assumption. Jacqueline, I was just mentioning the concept of thinking we need things and like how to kind of the ability to not have the instant gratification that I think we've grown used to with the DoorDash and the Amazon deliveries and all that kind of stuff, and just having 24-hour shops and just kind of having endless amounts of consumption that we can do, and just having that unlimited supply be coming within ourselves and not necessarily from an external source.
Yeah, and we are created in the whole image of the light of perfection. So having our needs supplied is our natural state. However, we have not learned the method to supply our needs. So we believe that our needs are supplied from our external world. And then when we get fearful and we don't feel safe, we don't feel secure because of all of the to-dos going on externally, rumors of wars and rumors of poverty. We want to fill up those places where we are fearful, and consumption is what humans have learned to do to override the fear of uncertainty, feeling unsafe, feeling hopeless, feeling in despair, feeling a lack of any kind of control over my conditions and situations, feeling like I'm a victim chained to some dark dungeon wall, and my captor, I only can get what I want when my captor decides that I can have it. And so the awakening is, and we are in a global awakening right now, which is not just a random event. This is a God-ordained mechanics of creation, which raises first the infant, then the child, then the toddler, then the teen, and then when the adult is developed enough mentally, spiritually, and his heart is in the right place and he can think properly, he is then ready for ascension into a higher realm of reality, which vibrates in the law of one, which is that, there are no more tears, there's no pain, there's no suffering, there's no want. Supply is there. So as we awaken and shift from being human to being small gods, small g, because I'm the child, I and my Father are one, the kingdom of heaven is within. As I lift you up, as my Father lifted me up, I will lift you up. As we are lifted up into the light into I know who I am, when I'm lifted up into that state, then I become a creator. And in order to be a creator, I've got to understand the principles. I have to know what the math equation is, and I need to know how to solve the problem. So my problem is I don't have a bank account with a statement that I want it to state. So now the art of assumption is assuming, stepping into that reality as though it is done. No matter what the external conditions tell me, this is the battle, and we do that battle until we come to the place where we know that there doesn't have to be the battle, that the battle that's going on in my mind against or between the world that out there that tells me that we're all economy shutting down, we're going into the dark night of the winter, we have lack and jobs are only limited, and your 401k is not going to be there, and your savings account is going to be dwindled, and you're going to be separated out and isolated out, and you're not going to be able to have a step up in society. When you shift from that lie, which is now being spoken at a greater external voice than ever before. I mean, the whole world is hearing this forum. And if you want to call fake news, let me tell you what fake news is all about. Fake news is about telling you that you're not a creator. Fake news is telling you that you're a victim. Fake news is telling you that there are series of events taking place that are stripping you from this, and this, and you're going to have less than you ever had, and you're going to have to work harder than you ever had, and you're going to have to worry about where your retirement is coming from, and you're going to have to worry whether your children are going to have an education, and you're going to have to worry whether you can walk down the street anymore free and not afraid of what's going on. The lie is getting greater and greater so that you can feel the anxiety, the frustration and fear and the lack of safety and the victimness greater than you've ever felt, so that you can be liberated and be broken free. This is a time of liberation. The real news, the real message, the truth that will set you free is that you are a co-creator, and that if you will learn the practice, if you will learn how to ask, believe, and receive, you will be greater than any external condition, situation, and lie that is taking place. If you're in a relationship you don't want to be in, if you're in a place you don't want to be in, if you're in a career you don't want to be in, if you hate your life, if you're tired of being miserable when you wake up in the morning, what I am saying to you, and it's not my human position wanting to create some image on the screen so that I can make $1, giving you this truth. This is the eternal truth. This is the truth of immortals. If you want to live the immortal life, if you want to live forever, this is the path, and there is a bridge to cross. So I know that sounds like a lot, but all doors are open to him who walks with his imagination. My imagination is my companion. Mm-hmm. If I listen to the news and all that's going on, and trust me, you and I both get sucked in. I must tell you, the side of opposites, the polarities right now, the red, the blue, the black, the white, the yes, the no, the immigration, no immigration, wall, no wall, war, balance, peace, harmony, hatred, anxiety. I mean, it is just,
Yeah, well,
it's just
people
crazy.
seem to really want to play in dualities. And in the position that we're offering here in this podcast is to step away from the duality position and look at things more from a unity position, from a higher position, a position where you've transcended those duality games, because they really are games. It's somebody's a winner, somebody's a loser. The game goes on until you decide to stop it. You know, but where if you come to that third position where it's not two sides of the same coin, but pulling yourself away from the coin, and then harvest, tapping into that creation, that creator energy, like you've been talking about, which is really the power we have as humans. Then we start to really, become who we really are. And we're not just a product of a game. And I think that's one of the things that's most challenging, I think, because everybody's got a hook and they get pulled back into the games through some sort of hook, some sort of thing you experienced in your life where it's very attractive to know about the game, because then you can talk about the game, then you can play with the game. And so it's pulling yourself into a position where the game doesn't matter as much. I don't think we can ever really stop playing the game, because I think the game is part of being in this reality.
Well, the game is beautiful, okay? I mean, that's why we came here. We
Right.
came here to play a game. We came here to take the adventure. What we've lost is the art of adventure. What we've lost is the art of the game. We've forgotten that it's not the winning and the losing, it's the playing.
Right.
We came here to play. We came here to touch the palm trees, to drink the coconut milk, to stand in the waves and feel the waves lap on our feet, to feel the sunshine on our face. We came here to experience a world of sensations. And that's the ambrosia of the gods. It's what we created, this world of forms, placed our spirit into a vehicle of form so that we could run around the world and experience sensations to the highest degree and to feel what ecstasy and bliss was all about. Immortals live in a world of bliss because none of this matters. It's all a game. Shakespeare said, the world is a stage, and we are mere actors on the stage. And every actor on the stage has chose what position they want to play. The problem is we all got on the stage and forgot we're acting and think that I am the role that I came to act. I'm here acting.
Yeah, and also the other thing I think people have forgotten is to respect the other roles that people have decided to take. It's like, I think there has to be a level of respect there, because I think if you try to sit above people and look down and say, we guys are crazy, and I'm spiritual and you're not, and so that's another form of judgment. It's like, just people are where they're at, and it's like you can't force anybody to go any way. It's all personal.
No, and this is a really good lesson, isn't it, in this whole mask wearing. As everybody can tell, William Collins and I are not mask feng shui. We're not virus feng shui. We're not disease. I don't believe in disease, which is lack and limitation. Is it a reality? It is a reality, but it's not the reality that I choose. And so you got to get really hardcore as a creator what you accept as reality. And so you're correct. everybody has the right to choose what reality they want to play. And I cannot, should not, because if I do, then what I do is through the law of entanglement, which I don't know if we want to explain that here, but that's a physics law where subatomic particles, no matter if they're a billion miles apart, can instantaneously communicate. So if my energy is communicating with that energy, it's not so much the other individual gets harmed by that, because they already chose that reality. I get harmed by that because I've just now entered into that reality, and I've caused my own vibrational aura now to entangle and vibrate with that reality.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point. And I had about 3 or 4 interactions yesterday where I was out shopping and stuff, and I just ran into people and started talking to them, like guy at the cash register at the dollar store. Boy, you could just feel the energy coming off this guy. He just wanted to talk to somebody, and I was just sitting there listening, and I could feel that I was taking on some of that energy and that, so I think, it's an ongoing challenge to know where your boundaries are.
It is a moment by moment. We can never, ever fix our moments. Moments are not fixed. So the old man, the former man, which needs to die, is that which is in the past. The new man lives in the future, takes his mind, masters his mind, controls his mind, imagines the future that he desires, so that there comes that bridge when you walk over, and that which you imagine becomes that place that you currently are. So it is in the learning of taking the imagination into reality, into hard fact, into form fact. Back to the talking, I have a niece who has felt so isolated because of this. And she told her daddy a couple of days ago, Daddy, she got a paper and drew a brain on a page and said, Daddy, this is my brain. Not my niece, it's my granddaughter. This is my brain. And then she drew a bunch of squares, boxes inside the brain, and said, Daddy, these are all these pages that are in my brain, but I can't get them out of my brain because there isn't anybody to talk to. And there's the...
Okay, great. So we'll be right back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Awakening Podcast. Jacqueline and Collins, we'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to the Awakening Podcast. This is Jacqueline and Collins. This is our final segment, and we're going to jump right back into it. Jacqueline was right in the middle of telling a story about her, I believe it was her granddaughter. I just want to throw in one thing about looking at the future, but not being in the future, but being in the present as a mechanism to be present so you can move into the future. Because a lot of people try to live in the future, and you can't live in the future. You have to live in the present. So do you want to jump back into your story?
Well, I'm going to actually challenge you on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because the art of assumption is living in the future. That's our multidimensionality beingness that humans have a very difficult time with. They think they need to be in one place at one time. But as multidimensional beings, we live in the future in our imagination, and as though it is now current. We come back here into the world of Caesar, and though I'm walking in Caesar's world, I am not of this world. I am of the world that I imagine it to be. And the bridge is the series of events or the coincidences that will take place when you relax, believe,
you loosen into the reality of the future, then the bridge is what we walk across, these series of events,
Of
the
synchronicities.
coincidences that will take place, the synchronicities
Right.
that will take us to the place where we lived in our imagination, take us to the place where we live in form, in physicality. And the external reality then is that which we have imagined it to always be.
Right. So
That's
the present being in the physicality, because you can't be in two places at one time in the physicality. So
In physicality, but remember,
so
my
we have our
physicality,
right, we have our different energy bodies. You know, some of them can be over here and there, but the physical one is here. So when we're here, the idea is that we have cleared the energy to let those synchronicities happen to us so we can be present. Because when we're living somewhere else, like if I'm living in my mind, if I'm in the future, if I'm thinking about a project, but I'm stuck over here doing this right now, and I'm just grinding on this thing because I know that I'm looking at my watch and then I know I have to be over there to do the thing I really want to do, then I don't allow the present moment to open those synchronicities to create what the future really is, not what the future that I'm trying to force upon this reality I'm trying to project or force, because
Yeah,
things can't be forced.
see, this is the art of mastering. This is the practice to learn this multidimensionality of my beingness. So that art of living in the future, but yet walking, taking steps in my, what you call external now physical reality. It is an art. But once you learn how to walk, I don't need to think about taking this step, this step, this step, this step. Okay? So while you're learning how to walk in your mind, living in the future, it is an awkward feeling to be here now in a reality that does not coincide with the future reality that I want it to be. And that is the art of mastery, is learning how to be in this world of reality, Caesar's world, where I'm paying taxes, I'm doing my job, I'm cooking my dinner, I'm looking at my bank statement and paying my bills, but yet not accepting that as prime reality and still thinking of and imagining the world of my future, so that as I have that as my prime source of reality, while I'm over here cooking my meals, I'm cooking my meals with all the exhilaration, excitement, joy, bliss, happiness of the future reality with me here now, which is, you're right, a world of energy at this time. So I've got my physical world of energy and I've got my spiritual world of energy, and they may seem like they are not in unison. And that is some of the frustration and the anxiety of learning this art of mastering the psychological motion from what is going on here and now to moving my mind to what I want it to be, so that it ends up in my physical world as what I want it to be.
Yeah, well,
I can do two things at once. I can cook my meal, all the while knowing the ingredients that I'm putting into the bowl, being aware that it's going in the frying pan, and I can still live in my future reality, even though I'm cooking my meal.
But you're not, the thing I think I wanted to emphasize was, I think what happens if you get very tunnel vision about your future, and this is the way it has to unfold. One thing that can occur is that you're not in the present. So the present, when it shows you, when it unfolds at its own pace, when it brings a synchronicity into your life, when you meet somebody unexpectedly, when you walk out the door and you're open to possibilities, as opposed to, I've got to go over here. I got to do this because only this plus this equals this, some mathematical equation in your mind about dotting some T, crossing it, whatever, dotting a T, crossing, dotting an I. But
Crossing an I.
yeah, all these
I
things.
like crossing the I's, I'm sorry.
I mean, you need the flow, like it's the flow state. It's really that's where you want to be living as much as possible. And that's your present state. But the flow
I see
state,
what I just got
Right.
what you're saying. You
yeah, because
are
I
correct.
just,
There is a present state that you're not walking down the street living in la la land. And there is
Yes,
a
yes,
difference
and that's- and we
between
all-
fantasy world versus I am here and present. I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm mindful.
and that's
what
you
is
see more
going
and more
on.
people with these goggles on, and they're going to be dressed up in all kinds of weird outfits with goggles, and they don't, they're not living in the present. They're living in some jacked in reality that somebody else is giving them, because they feel like, oh, if I do this and I walk over here and there's some magical creature or whatever that what's that game where you walk around with the phone and you find the creatures. I mean, that kind of stuff. And then I get cryptocurrency.
Virtual reality
Yeah,
games.
virtual reality games. Yeah. So.
Oh, and yes, I want to make, that is a good point. We're not talking about fantasy land. We're not talking about virtual games, because the virtual game is really no different than our reality simulation that we're in, the stage that we're acting on.
Right. It's just it's someone
And
else's
again, and I know
interpretation.
this is getting a little difficult conversation, talking about simulations and virtual realities, or fantasy land, or, daydreaming, okay? Daydreaming is not the same as the art of creation, okay? Creating a world, creating a full life, creating a life that you want to live, where you are happy. We're talking about real world applications, okay? I'm talking about truth, scriptural, physics, atomic reality structures. We're talking about how to be a master, and that is mastering and controlling your thoughts, taking the time to watch the thoughts going through. I mean, look, William, we do our work all day long, but our thoughts are out there thinking what they want to think. So there's
You're not your thoughts.
and that's another thing. Well, I am the thoughts that I choose to think, but people think that just because they think a thought that is theirs. It's just not. We swim, we live in an ocean of thoughts. And just because thoughts come through your brain screen, the screen on your brain, doesn't mean that's what you chose. But when you begin to realize that the thought is a thing, and that thoughts, what is the scripture that says the word will not return void, that it will accomplish that which it was set out to accomplish? That word is the thought in your brain that you mastered, you controlled, you chose, you determined. So talk about living in la la land. How about humans that live in this ocean of thoughts that just run rampant and control their whole lives? That's la la land. That's fantasy land.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, things like accessorizing around the mask. Like I saw a lady yesterday who had a matching purse with the same suede leather purse as her mask. And I was like, gosh, it's accessorized.
Oh, there's a whole world now of
It looked like
matching
BDSM
masks
kind of
and
stuff.
accessories, and yeah.
Yeah, it's just
So, and these are just, again, this is an external accoutrement that you're putting on, and now everybody wants to play that role on the stage. I want to be that role player because everybody's doing it and I want to be like everybody else. I want to, and I'm not trying to minimalize sickness or disease. This world still has disease and still has sickness. The way to get out of disease and sickness, which is a lie because we are fully capable of living a healthy, immortal life, is by rising above the disease, which is a fear, which is a lie. I'm not my body. I'm not what's going on in my physical heart, my physical liver. I'm not what's going on in my bloodstream. I am a being which is far above this body, which made a choice to come into a body to have an experience. And now the awakening is the spirit, the spark inside of the body, standing up and saying, I am going to spark out. I'm going to flame out. I'm taking control of this virtual reality that is the world we live in, but not the world that I am of. I'm stepping out of the world I'm in, and I'm going to be of that which I am, and I am going to learn how to flame out, flame up, flame that spark inside, and be, which is in my mind, because I take my mind and I control it so that I can feel the state of the beingness that I choose to be.
Yeah,
I'm going to
feeling the state of the condition that you have. So like to clarify on the disease thing, because you have to, that disease is a manifestation. It's a dis-ease. It's your body not at its optimal level. And, there's a lot of reasons why you could have it. But, diseases, you have to come back into some sort of balance. Your body wants to come back to balance. And there's a lot of really positive therapies now that are a bit suppressed, I would say, because they're not vaccinations or things like that can bring you back into a condition. And a lot of it has to do with diet, has to do with your daily outlook, has to do with the
your
environmental
mental
conditions
state
where you
of
are.
mind, and
Yeah.
yes, you can coincide those with color therapy, light therapy. There's
And
many things now.
Probably the first
that
one,
are-
breathing is so important. Bringing
We're
in
going to
fresh
do
air.
a
And-
session on that. You're going to do that session on breathing because you're the master of breathing. So
Well-
come on, get with it. Well, would you believe that
I
we're
used to have
already
to
at
wear
the
masks.
end?
I used to have a cleaning job where I had to wear masks every day. I was cleaning like floors and toilets and things. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day. But
I can't believe that
thanks
we
so much,
just
guys.
We just
For
zoomed
it was
through
actually it
this.
was in Philadelphia, so there's a Philadelphia reference. Thank you so much, and Jacqueline, thank you for sharing this time with me, and we will be back hopefully next week.
Not hopefully.
We will be. Okay. Next week on the Awakening podcast. Thank you for joining us. This has been Jacqueline and Collins, and we will see you next week.
Namaste and flame up. Flame on. Flame in.
You flamer?
I'm